Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Kim and today we're talking about the discontinued attractions at Universal Orlando CityWalk. Hello and happy Epic Universe opening month to all who celebrate. I hope all of you Universal fans have had the chance to go and experience that incredible new theme park. I have already gone back during the team member previews, but I'll be back in June and I'll be actually allowed to record this time. So look forward to that vlog coming sometime in June. But in the meantime, I am currently on vacation in Utah. Follow me on Instagram, TikTok, or click my shorts tab here on YouTube if you'd like to see some more of my day-to-day adventures. Hopefully I'm having a great time. Now, this will be the fourth video in my Discontinued Universal Attractions series, and it's going to focus on CityWalk, the entertainment, shopping, and dining district that was opened here in 1999 during the giant expansion that came with the opening of Islands of Adventure that transformed Universal Studios Florida into Universal Orlando Resort. This area has seen a lot of change over the years, and I definitely think it warrants a video of its own, even if the word attractions is used sort of loosely here. Mostly it's shops, clubs, and restaurants that have closed, changed, and rethemed, and I want to discuss all of them. So if that sounds like a good time to you, hit that like button, subscribe for more videos, and let's get into it. CityWalk Orlando was opened in February of 1999, just a few months prior to the official opening of Islands of Adventure. This was a major expansion that transformed the location of one simple park to a multi-park, several hotel, shopping, dining, full-day experience. Orlando isn't the only Universal with a CityWalk. Universal Hollywood was the first CityWalk. Also, Universal Osaka and Beijing also have CityWalks. And while each have their own unique shops, restaurants, and experiences, Universal Orlando has undergone arguably the most amount of change in the last 25 years. Once upon a time, guests could park in a lot right in front of the Universal Archway. These days, when arriving at the resort, guests are directed to park in one of two large parking structures. And once they've passed through the security scanners, they are taken on moving walkways past the Hollywood Drive-In Mini Golf, which is a sci-fi and horror-themed putt-putt range that was opened in March of 2012. And they are directed straight into CityWalk proper. It's not until you reach the end of the moving walkways that the discontinued attractions really begin. To make this a little easier to categorize, I'm going to lump each section of this video as shopping, dining, entertainment, and of course, the miscellaneous section at the end. We're going to jump around a little here, going from upstairs to downstairs, left to right, across the lagoon, but that's okay. I need to get my steps in. Let's start with the stores at CityWalk. There have been a ton to have come and gone over the years. As a matter of fact, nearly every standalone store in CityWalk has been closed and changed since the beginning in 1999. Businesses come and go, interests and trends change, and it's important to keep things fresh for new and returning guests. As of 2025, there are only 3 unique standalone stores. Now, that's not to say there aren't plenty of places to shop in CityWalk. There are plenty of small booths selling a variety of merchandise, as well as stores attached to other businesses, such as restaurants and bars. But in terms of standalone unique stores, there are only 2, but soon to be 3 in that category. The first is the Epic Universe Preview Center. This store sells merchandise from the brand new park, which is opening on May 24th. Guests can shop for merch from Dark Universe, the Ministry of Magic, Isle of Berk, and Super Nintendo World, all while enjoying a full-scale model of the entire Epic Universe park. Prior to this was the Universal Legacy Store, selling merchandise and boasting props from classic Universal properties and attractions like the Universal Monsters, Harry Potter, Back to the Future, Jaws, and more. Before it was the Legacy Store, this was the original Universal Studios Store, a catch-all store for whichever current-day attractions that were featured at the parks. These days, the Universal Studios Store is located just across the way, and it is huge. In much the same way as the original store, it is a giant catch-all shop selling all current-day Universal merch, plus a few special seasonal options as well. It's perfect for guests who are on their way out who may have forgotten to pick up something while still at the parks. There is an entire section of the store dedicated to the wizarding world, selling robes and owls and wands. There's a section in the middle for more traditional Universal merch, with Dr. Seuss and Marvel being some of the standouts. And towards the very entrance of the store is where you'll find more seasonal merch. During Mardi Gras, Christmas, and Halloween Horror Nights, shirts, lanyards, keychains, and other exclusive merch can be found in this area. When I say that this store is big, I mean big. It cannibalized 4 businesses prior to its opening. Among those businesses lost were the Island Clothing Company, Fresh Produce, Pick, and the Fossil Store. Fresh Produce was the first to go, closed in December of 2019. The business is still around today, despite many store location closures due to the COVID pandemic in 2020. According to their website, quote, Fresh Produce are proud to be a 95% American-made women's clothing brand committed to providing comfortable, colorful, quality clothing that brings a vacation state of mind. With bold, sun-drenched designs, our clothing helps women tap into their colorful, confident selves. End quote. Now, the Island Clothing Company closed in January of 2020, citing similar reasons. However, it seems like the whole company went under, as when I tried to look up their website, there was nothing to be found. They sold classic tropical vacation-styled apparel. The Fossil Store closed in February of 2020. They're a brand best known for high-quality timepieces, purses, and other luxury jewelry. And finally, Pick closed in February of 2020 as well. Pick is a New York City-based novelty store which sold witty books, irreverent novelties, designer toys, custom figures, and global treasures. Pretty soon, CityWalk will be opening the brand new Nintendo store, which will be the last standalone store in this section. This is in anticipation of Epic Universe and is expected to feature plenty of fan-favorite Nintendo characters and merchandise to bring a little of that epic energy to CityWalk. But it's not without its own casualties, as the Nintendo store replaced Cinnabon, which has been moved to a standalone cart near the water. It also took over the storefronts of Billabong and Quiet Flight, 2 surfing-themed shops. One of the biggest reasons that people come to CityWalk are the dining options. It's no secret that theme park food isn't always the greatest, so as you're leaving the park, it's always nice to have dinner options from actual sit-down restaurants, and I think CityWalk has some of the best restaurants in the area. Most of the original dining locations in CityWalk have been replaced by other world-class restaurants, so let's talk a little bit about those now. Toothsome Chocolate Emporium is a chocolate lover's dream, featuring gourmet chocolates, artisanal milkshakes, and scrumptious sundaes. Of course, there's a regular dinner menu too, as well as a full bar with specialty drinks. All of that is wrapped into a 19th century steampunk aesthetic, and it was opened in September of 2016. But prior to that, it was NBA City. NBA City was a restaurant and entertainment location for any basketball lover. According to today's Orlando.com, quote, NBA City at Universal CityWalk is an upscale casual restaurant that opened in 1999 and is the world's first ever NBA City location. The interior is expansive with a dramatic design that is warm and comfortable, reminiscent of the classic arenas from the 1940s and 50s. A 33-foot statue of the NBA's logo man greets guests as they enter, along with regulation-sized half-court. NBA City is a complete dining and entertainment experience with exclusive programming created by NBA Entertainment from its video archives, an interactive area where guests can test their basketball skills, a bar and lounge area where you can watch the game, and retail store with exclusive NBA City merchandise and authentic NBA gear that the players wore. And don't worry about missing the game if you're not in the bar. The restaurant has a towering 15-foot wide screen and TVs throughout the dining room. End quote. Now, moving around to the other side of the lake, we'll find the NBC Grill. This is a great restaurant with bar favorites like chicken, pasta, burgers, and don't worry, they have plenty of beer. You can catch all of the latest sports games while you eat on the seemingly hundreds of televisions within. Prior to 2014, however, this was the NASCAR Sports Grill, a dream come true for any race fan. The restaurant sold similar bar food, chicken, pasta, burgers, etc. It also featured several TVs broadcasting NASCAR and your other favorite sporting events as well. It had a full-service liquor bar as well as racing arcade games. Right next door to the NBC Grill, you'll find Voodoo Donuts, a Pacific Northwest staple, infamous for their over 50 different donut flavors, all served fresh daily. Among those are the Bacon Maple Bar, the Dirt Donut, and the Memphis Mafia. Before its opening in 2018, this was Element, a retail shop with a skateboarding lifestyle theme and stylish displays of clothes, shoes, and accessories. Heading up the stairs, we'll find a couple of different food options. The first of which is Menchie's, a frozen yogurt spot. Now, when this shop opened in 2014, Froyo was all the craze. These days, it does still get visitors, but it's not as busy as it once was. This took over a candy shop. But right next door is Breadbox. This place has some excellent soup and sandwich options, but it did take over 2 whole storefronts when it opened back in 2014. The first was TCBY, the previous Froyo place before Menchie's opened, and the second was Cigars, a small bar and cigar lounge. Now, Cigars closing was such a stake to the heart of a lot of Universal team members, as it was the only place on property that gave alcohol discounts. Many team members would hang out there after work. It was such a cozy, cool vibe, and I know I certainly hung out there on many a nights, and I miss it greatly. Tucked in the corner, right above the movie theater, is an Asian walk-up counter called Bend the Bao, which opened in 2021. It sells, you guessed it, bao buns. But prior to its opening, it was a sushi stand called Fusion Sushi and Sake Bar. Still upstairs, we make our way towards the next restaurant called Antihitos, a delicious Mexican restaurant that I love so much. They have fresh guac made to order right at your table, plus the best margaritas on property. But prior to its opening in 2014, it was the Latin Quarter. According to OrlandoWeekly.com, quote, "It's always twilight at the Latin Quarter, thanks to the fiber optic stars in the ceiling. The grandness of the decorating is paralleled on the menu, which draws from and updates the cuisines of 21 countries, including Puerto Rico, Guatemala, Colombia, Cuba, and Brazil, for what's being called Nueva Latin. Fresh beef, game, seafood, and fruits of Latin America are thrown together in untraditional ways." End quote. Heading back down to the first level, we come upon Big Fire, a restaurant opened in 2019 and featuring American fare. This replaced Emeril's, owned by the celebrity chef of the same name. It served po' boys, pizza, salad, and burgers in a fine dining setting. Emeril's also had a really great happy hour at their sidebar from 3 to 6 p.m. And I miss that place so much. We used to get drunk before Halloween Horror Nights on $5 wines. Find me a place at CityWalk that sells $5 wines today. Seriously, Universal, CityWalk, whoever's in charge, you really need to get with the program on these happy hour options. We need more of them. We need any of them. Some of the last food options that I'm going to run through real quick. Vivo Italian Kitchen was once Pasta More. Red Oven Pizza was once Big Kahuna Pizza. Cowfish replaced Starbucks, which was once upstairs and is now downstairs next to Cold Stone. Now, Starbucks and Cold Stone replaced the Endangered Species store, which used to sell animal merchandise, and a small amount of the proceeds went to saving endangered animals. Guys, it's really hard to find footage of some of these old CityWalk establishments. Unfortunately, it's not like the parks where areas were highly documented and recorded by guests. I could barely find anything about the last place that I want to cover in this section. It was called the Motown Cafe, and it was where the current day Bubba Gump Shrimp Company is. The only thing that I could find about the Motown Cafe is a few photos, which I'm showing now, and one video from inside the place. I assume it was a restaurant and bar themed to old-time Motown acts, and it probably had a dance floor as well. The next section is reserved for the many entertainment options that have been lost over the years. Now, when CityWalk was first opened, it was like kind of a response to Downtown Disney. More on that in a future Disney Springs video. which meant, yes, there were shops and yes, there were restaurants, but more than anything, there were nightclubs. Much like Pleasure Island and downtown Orlando, sometime in the late 2010s, there was a shift in entertainment interests, and the nightclub scene was slowly fading out, which made Universal have to face some choices on what they wanted to do with their nightclubs. And here's what they come up with. Located right at the top of the escalator, guests would find the Red Coconut Club. Now, this was a premier nightclub and ultra lounge that was open every evening. It was a little bit 1950s Vegas, a little bit Cuban, a little bit Polynesian, tiki themed. The Red Coconut Club was a well-themed and very popular bar amongst guests. Now, the Red Coconut Club was closed in 2020 in response to the COVID pandemic, and it remained that way until 2022 when it reopened during Halloween Horror Nights as the first iteration of the Dead Coconut Club. 3 times a year, the Red Coconut Club becomes the Cursed, Dead, or Green and Red Coconut Club. This includes well-themed overlays to the bar, as well as specialty music and cocktails for guests to enjoy. I plan on releasing a full video about the Coconut Clubs and the tribute stores sometime, hopefully in August of this year. So for now, we'll move on to the Groove Nightclub, or as it's known today, the Universal Great Movie Escape. The Great Movie Escape is an incredibly immersive escape game right in the heart of CityWalk. Guests can play one of 2 games based on the classic Universal movies, Back to the Future or Jurassic Park. I personally have done the Back to the Future game, and I have to say it is well worth the steep price tag. It's very well themed, and if you're a fan of the movies, you will love this experience. However, before its opening in 2022, this was the location of the Groove Nightclub. According to today's Orlando.com, quote, "The Groove at Universal CityWalk is a multi-level club that features pulsating music, swirling lights, and a full liquor bar. Dance to the best in top 40, hip-hop, and top pop hits. If you want to take a break from the dance floor, there are multiple bars and 3 themed lounges: the Blue Room with a futuristic sci-fi feel, the Romantic Red Room, and the Tranquil Green Room, which has a 70s vibe. The club is designed to look like a century-old theater in various stages of renovation. However, don't be deceived. The Groove has the latest in sound systems, lighting, fog, and other effects, including a wall of video screens. For any guest that's into karaoke, Rising Star is a must-do experience. This is a karaoke club that allows guests to perform on stage with a live band. It is an incredibly fun experience, even if you're not a singer. But before it was Rising Star, this location was City Jazz. Bebopified.com is the only place that I could find an explanation of the club. Quote, "The only true form of American music is jazz, and it's celebrated at City Jazz at Universal Studios CityWalk. Home to the Downbeat Jazz Hall of Fame, the venue was designed with the assistance of the Thelonious Monk Institute of Jazz. The sound system and acoustics are designed for crystal clear music reproduction, and the cuisine is equally superior. Specialties include caviar, sushi, and escargot. Guests can also choose from a collection of over 60 vintage wines or choose a drink from the rolling martini cart." Now, the last piece of lost entertainment at CityWalk Orlando is the Blue Man Group, which closed in 2021. This was a high-energy show featuring the group's unique musical and humorous performances and routines. Prior to their takeover in 2007, however, this was the Nickelodeon Studios, but you can hear more about that in my Discontinued Attractions of Universal Studios Florida video. These days, this soundstage hosts the Grinchmas show every holiday season. Now, just because all of those options are gone doesn't mean that there's nothing left to do at CityWalk. Obviously, the old nightclubs and experiences were replaced with many excellent options, and there's just always something going on in CityWalk. Live performances on the stage near the water or stilt walking characters at night during special events. So the Hard Rock also hosts plenty of live entertainment shows. And look, if all else fails, you can always catch a movie at the Cinemark, which is no longer an AMC theater. The final section of this video is for the miscellaneous attractions that I didn't know where to put otherwise. This section will be pretty small, but they're all worth noting in my personal opinion. Discontinued late night closings. Back in my day, CityWalk Orlando used to be open till 2 in the morning. Sometime around COVID, the closing times changed to midnight or 1 a.m., depending on the day. This is probably due to the lack of nightclubs and probably just general safety concerns. Speaking of late night festivities, back when the movie theater was still AMC owned, a local theater troupe called the Rich Weirdos brought the Rocky Horror Picture Show live to nearly sold out crowds once a month. I frequented this midnight showing often, and I always loved bringing new friends into the mix. For a while, without a home theater, the Rich Weirdos only performed a few special event shows here and there. But more recently, they were invited to perform at the Orlando Fringe Festival, and I've heard that they're in talks to have regular showings at the Regal Cinema in Point Orlando, so I highly recommend checking them out if that sounds like something you're into. I promise you'll have a ton of fun. Another discontinued attraction is the carousel. There used to be a carousel located right above the water. For a fee, guests could take a spin on a merry-go-round, which featured a couple classic Universal characters painted along the top. Also gone are the carnival games, replaced now with merchandise booths, but once upon a time, there were plenty of games for guests to play and win some prizes. And finally, the dancing security guard. This was less of an official Universal thing and more of just a guy who really loved his job, but he was well known enough to regular guests at the park that he even had his own Facebook page. We miss you, dancing security guard. Wherever you are, I hope you're doing well. And that's all she wrote about the discontinued attractions of CityWalk. This is as close to an exhaustive list as I could possibly get, but if you can think of anything else that I missed, please let me know in the comments below. I'd love to learn more. CityWalk, like much of Universal, is always changing, so check back in 5 years for the updated version of this video. There are a couple more Universal videos that I want to put out this year. The discontinued meet and greets that I've been teasing, tribute store and coconut club overview, something Halloween Horror Nights based. If you have any ideas, please let me know in the comments. I would love to make a video for you. And of course, my Epic Universe vlog and review in June. So if you're a Universal fan or if you just like me, please, please, please hit that subscribe button, like the videos, comment, share. Let's boost my video in the algorithm, please, and thank you. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!